This year, skip the same old boring sides because these dishes are surprisingly easy, crowd approved, and perfect if you're tired of spending all day cooking. So let's dive right in. Now, if you're planning to make all of these side dishes together on the same day, let's say Thanksgiving morning, it is doable, but honestly, I find it so much easier to split it into 2 days. It just makes the whole thing feel calm and manageable instead of chaotic. So if that sounds good to you as well, here's how you're gonna do it. First, we're gonna knock out 2 of the dishes that are perfect for prep ahead: our elegant vegan cheese ball and our pumpkin cheesecake truffles. And these are perfect to make ahead because they actually benefit from chilling in the fridge overnight. Okay, so starting with dessert first, we are gonna make these delicious pumpkin cheesecake truffles. These are creamy, bite-sized, and delicious, and they look much fancier than they are. For our base, we are going to need just some plain raw cashews. You do not want to use roasted or salted ones here. We want them to be nice and neutral for that creamy cheesecake flavor. And we're just gonna measure some out and pour boiling water on top and let those soak for about 15 to 20 minutes. And that's just gonna soften them so that they'll be really easy to blend into a super smooth consistency. And once those are done soaking, go ahead and just add them into your blender along with the rest of our ingredients, which are pumpkin puree, maple syrup, lemon juice, pumpkin pie spice, vanilla, and a pinch of salt. Now, you are definitely gonna have leftover pumpkin puree after making this recipe, so if you need some new creative ways to use it up, I'm gonna leave some recipes in the description box down below for you to check out. And so now this mixture is going to be our truffle filling, and it can just rest in the fridge overnight. And meanwhile, we'll go ahead and make our second make ahead recipe, which is the vegan cheese ball. Now this one is such a hit at holiday gatherings because not only does it look really impressive, but the flavors are also incredible, and it makes just the perfect snack or appetizer when you serve it with crackers or toasted bread. So we're also gonna need some softened soaked cashews for this one. So this is just the second half of what I soaked previously, and we're just gonna add those into our blender with the rest of our lemon juice from the last recipe, plus some white miso paste, Dijon mustard, coconut oil, salt, paprika, nutritional yeast, garlic, and some water. Now, just a note with your coconut oil, you want to get one that is refined so it doesn't have any coconut flavor. And you can technically leave this out, but it won't shape into a ball as easily since the coconut oil is what solidifies at cold temperatures. So if you don't want to use this, again, that is totally fine. Just be prepared that your cheese will be a lot softer, and you'll probably want to serve it in something like a fancy ramekin instead of the traditional molded ball shape. And then to shape it into a ball, we just want to take a bowl and line it with saran wrap, and then we'll pour in our mixture, stir in any fresh herbs you're using, and wrap it up and let it chill overnight. And then the last thing I like to prep ahead is my pasta noodles, which is going to be for our mac and cheese. So instead of stressing about cooking them the day of, go ahead and just do a quick al dente cook the day before, let them chill in the fridge overnight, and then all you'll need to do is just to make your sauce and mix everything together and bake it in the oven. So now with those big 3 components out of the way, the day of you can just focus on roasting. Before we do that, I just quickly want to show you how I planned all of these recipes, because this is actually my #1 tip for cutting kitchen stress. And that is thanks to this app right here, Plan to Eat, which I'm so excited to be partnering with again for today's video. So this app is basically a digital recipe binder and a meal planning app all in one. You can save recipes from anywhere, blogs, websites, even YouTube videos like this one, or for those of us who have like handwritten recipe cards from our mom or grandma, those can be saved in here too. And that way you can keep all of your recipes in one place. So when you plan your meals for the day or the week, you just drop them into your Plan to Eat calendar, and it automatically gives you your shopping list, which if you've ever been super busy trying to get dinner on the table, only to realize halfway through cooking a recipe that you have completely forgotten a crucial ingredient, you will know what a lifesaver that is. Right now, one of my favorite ways to use the app is actually to search recipes by ingredients that I already have, because it is perfect for using up those random odds and ends of ingredients that end up in the back of your pantry for months. You can just do a quick search in your database, and that way those ingredients get used up and they won't go to waste. So basically, this app just makes your whole week feel more manageable. You plan your meals, make your lists, and boom, one less thing to stress about every day. So I wanted to mention them now because they are going to be doing their big Black Friday sale again, where annual memberships are going to be 50% off. But since Black Friday isn't for a couple more weeks, there's actually a free trial that you can start right now. You don't even need to put in your credit card info. It is 100% totally free. So go ahead and give it a try and see if you love it as much as I do. I'm going to put the link in the description box down below. You can check it out after this video. Okay, so now for our main prep day, we are going to start by roasting. And I actually like to plan all of the things that use the oven on the same day, so I I only have to turn my oven on once. And so for our recipes, we need to start by roasting our butternut squash and our sweet potatoes. The squash is actually gonna be for our mac and cheese, which is full of delicious fall flavor and is so creamy, but is surprisingly dairy-free. So first, we're just going to preheat the oven to 425. All of our veggies are going to be roasting at that temperature, which is perfect. I love when things align like that. And then pro tip for your butternut squash, which actually a viewer told me about a little while back, and it has been a lifesaver for cutting squash. Go ahead and pop it into the microwave first, just for about 2 minutes, and that is just going to soften your squash, which makes it so much easier to slice and scoop out the seeds. And then for the sweet potatoes, you can totally eat the skin if you want to scrub them first. I'm just super lazy and I always just peel my sweet potatoes. I find it much faster, but do whatever you prefer. And then we're gonna cube those sweet potatoes into small bite-sized pieces. And I'm doing a quick spray of avocado oil and then a very light seasoning of garlic powder and salt. And then we'll pop those into the oven and get started on our acorn squash. I love a simple roasted veggie like this on my holiday table because it's really easy to make, but honestly, it just tastes so fall. And I thought this one would be really cute because we can cut it so that it's a little bit fancy. Now, first of all, side note, you can eat the skin on your acorn squash. So go ahead and just give it a good wash first. And then you're gonna cut it down the middle and scoop out the seeds. Now, most people think with acorn squash, you wanna cut along those ridges, which you definitely can do, but that's just gonna give you a plain acorn squash slice. Whereas if we cut it with our ridges up, we just slice along the squash as if it were a loaf of bread. And just look at how cute these are. Now for spices, I like to keep it really simple here and let the flavor of the squash shine through. I like to use just a little bit of maple syrup and cinnamon here. It's kind of mixing some sweet with a normally savory vegetable, but they're not overly sweet. They still make a perfect side dish. They get all nice and caramelized and they are just so tasty this way. And so we'll just set those out on our parchment lined baking sheet and pop those into the oven as well. Okay, now with everything roasting in the oven, we are going to work on our pumpkin cheesecake truffles. Our mixture should be pretty firm now and pretty easy to scoop. So we are just gonna make little balls and freeze them for about 20 to 30 minutes. And now with those chilling in the freezer, our squash and sweet potatoes are ready. And the sweet potatoes are actually gonna be set aside because those are going into our big, beautiful salad. A salad is the side dish that I feel like everybody forgets to bring, but when you have one at a holiday table, it always gets eaten. Plus, it's always nice to have a healthy side dish with some greens on it. So for this salad, I'm just gonna use some butter lettuce. Now, a pro tip for your salad, if you do wanna do a make-ahead option, I do find that salad always tastes the best and the freshest when it's made the day you're going to serve it. However, some work ahead tips that you can do is to wash your vegetables first, and that way they are ready to go the day you want to put your salad together. So I just washed up this lettuce yesterday, and now we're just going to chop it and add it into our salad bowl with our roasted sweet potatoes. Now for salad toppings, there is a lot of versatility here depending on what you like. I usually like to add some fall flavors and colors to my holiday salads. So I have these pomegranate seeds that are gonna add a really nice pop of color. You could also use something like dried cranberries instead if you still want that vibrant red color. And then I like to do a salty crunch on there as well, usually with some nuts. So toasted pecans make a really good option. You could do toasted pine nuts. I have these pumpkin seeds, which are really nice on fall salads. Plus they're already toasted and salted. So these make a really good addition as well. And then we're just gonna add a bit of avocado for creaminess. And I really like to add vegan feta on my salads, not only for the flavor, but it also just adds such a beautiful element, the contrast of the white and the vibrant red, orange, and green. And we're not using a lot here, just a little light sprinkle on top. Now with our butternut squash done, we need to make our mac and cheese sauce. So to our blender, of course, we are gonna add the butternut squash, nutritional yeast, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, dry mustard, miso paste, lemon juice, tapioca starch, plant milk, and soaked cashews. And just blend that until it's nice and creamy. So we already have our cooked noodles here, and we are just going to add those into a baking dish and then add our cheese sauce on top and mix everything together. And then optionally, you can also add a little bit of a crunchy, crispy breadcrumb topping, which adds just a little bit of an extra delicious crunch to this mac and cheese. Okay, for our truffle coating, you can use vegan chocolate chips, dark chocolate, you could even use vegan white chocolate if you wanted to. The only thing that I would recommend is to use a little bit of that refined coconut oil. That is just gonna help get a thinner chocolate shell. If you use something like plain chocolate chips, you are gonna get a little bit of a thicker chocolate shell, which just kind of makes them a little bit harder to bite into. So we're just gonna do a little mix of our vegan chocolate chips and dark chocolate first. And we're gonna heat this in the microwave in 20-second intervals, stirring after each time. And then towards the end, and just go ahead and add in about a teaspoon of coconut oil and stir that through. And then we'll just take our frozen pumpkin cheesecake bites and dip them in our chocolate. Now I think it looks really fancy to do a light dusting of our pumpkin pie spice on top. It almost looks like gold flakes or something, but you could also do something like a flaky sea salt on top or a little bit of sesame seeds, just something to add a little bit of visual interest. And now with all of our side dishes done, we are just going to plate everything up, starting with our vegan cheese ball, which we will just place on a plate and add either crackers or bread, really whatever you like here. So I hope that these recipes give you some fresh inspiration for your holiday table. Also make sure you go check out Plan to Eat if you want to reduce stress not only in your holiday meal planning, but even just on the regular day-to-day. And if you are looking for more holiday recipe inspiration, I'm gonna link a couple videos right here. These are some of my favorites and I think you're gonna love them as well.